Welcome back, ladies and gents. Today I'm going to show you how to play the song Pisces by Jinjer. So right before we get started, we are playing in a drop tuning. Very low, it's the lowest I've ever played. We're starting off from the 6th lowest string, that's A, E, A, D, F sharp, and B. Very, very low. And if you want to be able to sustain such a low tuning on your guitar, you're going to want to have a thicker gauge of string so that at lower tuning the tension still holds and it can stay in tune and not be like spaghetti on your fretboard. Okay, with that out of the way, the last thing I want to say is that for some riffs in this song, I will only be playing the slow section because it is very self-explanatory if you look at the tabs and my left hand when playing it slowly, that it's pretty simple to kind of just play along with. And for other areas of the riffs where I see that more elaboration is needed, I will do so to show you really how to play them. All right, let's get started. Okay, so right here we have the first riff. It's very simple. You're holding the same chord shape throughout the whole intro. So we're adding our ring finger onto the 17th note on the A string, adding our middle finger to 15 on the D, adding our index finger to 14 on the G, and with our pinky adding to the B string 17. I like to simply downpick all of the notes. You can alternate pick them as well if you like. That's simply a choice I leave up to you. And aside from that, it's pretty straightforward. You just have to follow the rhythmic pattern and pay attention when it repeats right after you get to the open note high E. Suffering with smile, I drew a different reality with unconditional loyalty. Ego heart, they can be because I'm selfless. In this part, it's pretty simple. We have 3 chords and then 2 other chords in the last bit. That's basically 5, 3, 6. 5 with our ring finger on the D, index finger, G string 3, and B string 6 with our pinky. And you're just shifting through the fretboard, same shape. With the third shape, you want to then do move your ring finger away and then add your middle finger to 8. And for the last 2 chord patterns, it's pretty simple stuff. If you look at the tabs, finger position, you have pinky, middle finger, index finger, that's going low to high. And then you have going low to high, 8, 10, and 9, starting with your index, ring, and then middle. Okay, so now it's time for the chorus heavy riff. So if you look at the tabs, it should be pretty straightforward. Most of these riffs aren't that difficult. So we have 3, 2, 3 on the low E and A string. Open note, open note. Then you have 5, 7 bending on the 7 slightly. Right here we are barring with our index finger the 7th fretboard. Then we're adding 8 right in the middle on the A string, then adding with our pinky 10 on the G. Then we have the following section. So right here we're sliding into 7 on the D string, playing 7-5 and then A string 7-5. And right there on the 8 low E we are bending. And we're doing that twice. And right there it's just power chords, 8 and 5. Alright, this part is tricky. The chord is pretty yoga-esque. Nice little stretch with your pinky. So the chord is basically open note, low E, 5, 7, 9. So that's index finger, ring finger, and then 9 on the G string with our pinky. And then adding our middle finger onto the B string, 6, and then open note. So sustaining that is feels very awkward, but you're gonna have to deal with it if you want to play the song. Alternatively, you can shift the 9 onto 7, which would make it easier, but you won't have that spice to it. I'll leave that up to you. So right here it's very simple if you look at the tab following the pattern. Right after we hit that 7 on the D string, we're starting again. Right up to the 6, and then we have the following. Right there is a dead note, 8 on the A, and then hammering on 6 to 7 on the D. And then with our index finger hammering on 4 to 5. Middle finger on the G. And then right at the end, before having to repeat the whole thing, we have the following. Right there we're adding our middle finger to 8 and then on the low E string, and then having our ring finger on the 8 on the D and our index finger on the G string 7. We're holding that pattern. We're simply shifting it 2 fretboards upwards to 10. And it becomes 10, 10, 9. Okay, so in this riff we're playing the 5th, 7th, and 9th notes on the A, D, and G string, and alternating with the palm mutes on the low E open. And then we're playing the familiar pattern, little lick here, 7, 8, 6, 7, and then 4, 5. And right at the end we have the following two chords. Right there we're barring with our index finger on the 8th fret, adding with our pinky onto the D string, 12. We're simply going to shift our bar from 8 to 10 and leave our pinky on the 12 on the D. And from there we just repeat the riff. Okay, for the last heavy riff closing off the song, I like to play the first pattern hammering on the notes. So open notes, hammer on 6, and then on the A string, hammer on 5 to 8. And then the rest of the way, I like to simply alternate pick the notes. It can be a little tricky right here at the end, as you have to jump around the fretboard with your left hand pretty quickly. So you play after that the following notes. So that's 12 and 8 on the low E open notes. And then you're going to shift with your index finger onto the 2nd fretboard A string, play 2, and then with your pinky onto the low E string, 6 and 3. Alternatively, if you have very long fingers and you can stretch pretty well, you can play 12-8 open note and then play 9-6-3 on the low E. I'm playing the A string 2, which is equivalent to the 9 on the low E. But for me that's just too much of a stretch, and with the speed I am more likely to botch it up. And right at the end we have the chord pattern from the previous riff. That's 5, 7, 9 starting on the A, ending on the G. And we're just going to play that 4 times and then 5 times. And that's the end of the song. Thanks a lot for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed that guitar lesson, be sure to hit the like button. If you want to stick around for more, be sure to subscribe. If you have any questions regarding this guitar lesson or any other of my videos, please leave them in the comments section below, and I will see you all again next time. Peace out.